Because of President's Day, there is no court today. The Alex Murdaugh murder trial will resume tomorrow. Now, we left off on Friday with the state resting their case against the man accused of murdering his wife and son, and his defense team began calling their witnesses. Now, we expect they will call several more, with Murdaugh's surviving son on the list of potential witnesses. And for much more on this incoming week of the Alex Murdaugh murder trial, we now want to bring in one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the state, Jack Swirling. So, Mr. Swirling, thank you so much for joining us once again. To go ahead and get right into it, you know Dick Harpootlian better than anybody in the state, really. Longtime friend, former colleague. What can we expect from Harpootlian and his team going into this week?
Well, I mean, they're prepared to go forward, and I know there are going to be some experts called in the case to probably either offer an alternative explanation to what some of the state experts said, or to present new information. And so I think it'll be very interesting. And Dick is an excellent trial lawyer, so is Jim Griffin, and I'm sure it's going to be very interesting for people to watch.
And really, in these first few weeks, it seems like nothing is really going in favor of the defense. It seems like the judge continues to rule against their motions. They didn't want anything about the boat crash included. Well, that's included. They didn't want anything about the financial crimes, those alleged financial crimes. They didn't want any of that included, nor do they want anything included about the roadside shooting. But all of that is now included. In a way at all, would Mr. Harpootlian be on his heels at this moment?
No, I mean, they don't get on their heels. They are ready to move forward. They have a plan, a strategy. I'm not privy to everything that's going to happen, but I do know that they are very talented trial lawyers, and they're going to go ahead and put questions in the mind of the jury, which is what raises a reasonable doubt. They are, both of them, both Griffin and Harpootlian, are long-term trial lawyers, and they've tried many cases. I've tried cases with them and against them. So I think they're ready, and I believe I know they're ready. And so I think it's going to be interesting as to what the issues they're going to raise.
It also kind of seems like Mr. Harpootlian keeps leaving like a crumb trail as far as what he may lead up to in this coming week. It seems like he keeps hinting at little things, but he's not really hitting home at some stuff. Is that part of his strategy?
Well, I think that's generally has been his strategy. I mean, Dick is very media savvy, and he's been he's been in the forefront of public cases, high publicity cases for many years. So he likes to put some things out there for people to think about, and I think that he'll deliver by putting that information on the witness stand so the jury will hear it.
Speaking of the witness stand, there have been some reports and some conversations possibly about putting Alex Murdaugh on the stand. Would you put him on the stand at this time?
Well, that's the biggest decision any defense lawyer has to make. And that decision really can't be made until you have put up your witnesses, or certainly after the state rests, and then you go ahead and put some of your witnesses up. You don't want the defendant to be the last witness, that's for sure. So I think that there are probably some things that Dick and Jim need to answer. Alex Murdaugh needs to answer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him take the witness stand.
And you were saying you don't want the defendant as the last witness. So maybe we could see him, if he were to take the stand, we would see him more or less in the middle of their argument, not necessarily towards the end.
Yeah, I don't think it's generally it's not very good to put the defendant up last, because if it doesn't go well, that's the last thing the jury remembers. So usually you buttress the defendant's testimony in between other testimony, and then finish strong with a witness who's going to bring it all together. I don't know how Alex Murdaugh is going to do on the stand. He's got a lot of pressure on him. There are a lot of questions in the case. The state's going to be able to cross-examine him pretty thoroughly, I believe, if he takes the witness stand. So it's a risk. There's no question about it. It's a gamble. And he'll have to decide, Jim will have to decide with him whether or not he needs to take a witness stand and be subject to cross-examination, or go ahead and rest the case now and just argue that the state has not proven guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Knowing Mr. Harpootlian and knowing Mr. Griffin, do you think they will put him on the stand at this time?
Well, I think every defense lawyer would like to put their client on the witness stand because the jury would like to hear from a defendant. And Murdaugh doesn't have any criminal record that I'm aware of. He's a polished as far as being in front of a group of people, a jury particularly. So he's tried many cases. I mean, he's the perfect individual to put up on the witness stand. The question is, what can he add to the case? Can he anything, or can he subtract from the case? Can he hurt the case if he testifies? So that's what you're really balancing, whether or not he is a witness that can help the case or possibly potentially hurt the case with a strong cross-examination.
Okay, I guess we'll wait and see exactly what Mr. Harpootlian decides to do in this coming week. So, Mr. Swirling, thank you so much for joining us, as always.
Call me anytime. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll have much more coverage of the trial coming up tomorrow and, of course, every day right here on Fox Carolina News. Make sure you go and stay connected. You can catch us on air, online. You can also stream us anytime on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV.